Lee, nice to see you. You're first. Oh my God, you are first. I'm a little late, I guess. Am I a little late? I think I am. Yeah. Oh, not really. 2 minutes. That's really not bad for me, considering I was 20 minutes late yesterday. I was just live over on TikTok, so there are a bunch of people coming over from TikTok as well. So I'll give them a few minutes to join. My fingernails are filthy. I need to clean them. Hi, Jacob. How are you guys today? Good morning. The dogs let me sleep until 4 a.m. I am so impressed. So very impressed. The dogs let me sleep until 4 a.m. I'm not bad. I was just having fun reminiscing about my Lockheed Martin days in my live, and right, Jacob? I got to sleep until 4. Typically, they wake me up at 2, or they have been waking me up at 2. I feel like oh my God, I got so much more sleep this morning. And now they're already back asleep. Go make a cup of tea. Go make a cup of tea. Hi, Laurel. Hello, Laurel. I'll wait until a few people get in here. We're going to add a little more bake to the wake. We're getting the bake in the wake. Do you know why my screen goes out? I can't see the text. Okay, so what happens is if nobody talks for a while, it fades so that you can see the whole live. I think that's a feature. That's a YouTube feature. If nobody is talking, it goes away so that it doesn't continue to block part of the screen. You tried to message me yesterday but couldn't with TikTok? I wonder how come. I guess I have to, do I not follow you back? You can email me butterhag@gmail.com. Drinking coffee and any caffeine. Yep. Yeah, cool. And I think that's what it is. I think it's the text is fading out so that it doesn't block the screen. Just to give you time to read it. If you want it to come back, just touch the screen where the text was. Drag your finger on the screen where the text was, and it will come back. Just drag your finger right there, and it'll come back. And I think it doesn't fade any. Oh, no, it does fade. If you have the video on full screen. Oh, you're what? Oh, come on in, cool kids. Come on in. So you guys should go watch the documentary on YouTube about Grey Gardens. Not now. Not right now. Stay for this live right now. But if you want something to watch after this live, you can go watch the documentary about Grey Gardens. I am just fascinated with the daughter in that documentary. I can't get her out. There's something. She's so sophisticated and so crazy, but yet so gentle. And it's just, she's just such an interesting woman. The documentary was made in 1977, and they grew up really wealthy, but they're living in squalor in this old 28-room mansion in a really wealthy section of the country. I think it's Martha's Vineyard or somewhere on the beach, and all the neighbors hate them because they own the house and the taxes are paid, but the house has fallen into disrepair because the inhabitants are a mother and her daughter who are related to Jacqueline Kennedy, and they don't have any money. You're on your second cup? Me too. You're not feeling well? I hope you're not. Oh, you don't have the COVID, do you? Hey, Nix. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Very nice to see you guys. Yes. Very nice to see you. Thank you for coming over. Southern Atlanta? Oh, no. Is it because of storms? I'm sorry, hippie chick. Good morning, Amber. Well, of course you're welcome. I like the lives on YouTube because they're recorded. And as long as I don't get triggered by somebody like I did yesterday, I can keep them. I can save the lives so other people can come later and watch them. But I had a really good live yesterday where we did a really good story time. But after I did story time, one of the members of the live triggered me and misunderstood me, and we got into a fight, and I said some pretty harsh things about a certain demographic in the world, and so I had to come back later and delete the live. So I have to be careful because these are recorded, and I lost the whole story time from yesterday because I was like, shit, man, I can't leave that shit out there. Fuck. Gotta go delete it. So it ruined the whole story time. So I'm going to try really hard to keep it directed, the chat directed away from anything that's going to trigger anyone, especially me. So you guys missed the story about the serial killer yesterday, and it got deleted. Oh, I deleted it. Oh, you wondered why it got deleted. Oh, yeah, I deleted it because I did. I got a little harsh, and that's not the kind of thing that I want on one of my story times. I like people to, I mean, I just didn't want it on my story times, so I deleted it. And plus, people that I respect that might fall into some of the categories I was talking about might see it, and I really don't want to hurt their feelings. Did you get my email about the train station killing? Fuck. No. I mean, I did get it. I haven't read it. I haven't looked at that email. I keep telling people to send things to that email, and then I am negligent in checking it. It's not that I got it and ignored it. Okay, fine. Shit. Man, I don't want to live in a little space with big dogs anymore. I really don't. I want to have nice things. I haven't been able to have nice things for 6-7 years because I have big dogs. You don't get to have nice things when you have big dogs and you are disorganized. Anyway. So I'm going to go check it. I'm going to go check it as soon as, because I just told somebody else to email me. I've told like 3 people to email me. So I need to go check the email. I want to see the train station killing. I want to see it. Is that from an old article from the... You think it was the person? Oh my God. You think that was the person? Oh my God, I can't believe I haven't gone and looked at that. I will go. I almost want... Oh my God, I almost want to go look at it right now. Shit, I can't though because I'm going live. The second I get off, I'm going to go look at it. Oh my God. Was it in 1977? I seen him got beat at that. It wasn't a train station though. It was a bus station. But it might have also been a train station. I mean, sometimes those things are together. Train and bus station are together. But this was the bus station in Detroit. It was a bus station in Detroit. We were waiting to get on a bus. But I'll look at it as soon as I get off of here. Oh my God. Thank you so much for sending it. And I can't believe I haven't looked at it yet. Yeah, no, it's, I think it is like the last week of November in 1977. The last week of November in 1977 at the Greyhound bus station in Detroit, Michigan. Or another victim by the same cop. Let me look at the details. It might be another victim by the same cop. I will look at the details. I'll look at the details, and we can remember that if we do find the case of the man I saw beat. I don't see any way he could have lived. You know, he was an older man. He was already on crutches. You can't get beat with a billy club for that long. A good 10, 15 minutes without dying. I wouldn't imagine you could get... I don't know how he could continue to swing it for that long. Anyway... That was a horrible experience, but that was also in 1977. Maybe the same offender. Yep, maybe the same offender. Maybe we could find a. Yeah. Hi, okayest mom. Hi, Schley. Yeah. It was late November, early December. I'm almost thinking it had to be late November because my brother in law had taken time off. He was a civil service employee, and my sister had died in childbirth. So he got a lot of time off. And I was going to the Upper Peninsula to meet him, to ride back to Utah with him to be his babysitter so he could go back to work. And I'm thinking he probably had to be back to work on the 1st of November. And so I think I was probably there around the 27th or 26th of November. That would be, or, sometime in the last, like, with enough time, I got to the Upper Peninsula. I spent a day there, and then the next morning we left and drove straight to Utah, spent a day at the house in Utah, and the next day my brother-in-law went to work. So I think, looking at a calendar, I think I could get it down pretty close. But it was 1977, and it was an evening bus. It was dark outside. It was in the wee hours of the morning when I got to my stop in the Upper Peninsula. So however long that is between Detroit and the Upper Peninsula, like I got there about 3 a.m., so Detroit to the UP, that's about the time of night that it happened. It wasn't in the daytime. And nobody else in that line or on that bus said a word. You got to wait a week for a video consult with the doctor. Oh, I'm so sorry, Laurel. But at least you're going to get a video consult. That is a exciting article to find, even though a horrible experience. Yeah, I would like to go see. Yeah, let's see. Maybe if it's got the same MO, So sad at my grandma's dog. Maddie, what did your grandma's dog do? It's an exciting article, even though a horrible experience. Yeah. Because even though he let me see Ken, he woke her up. He woke Grandma up. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you got to wait for a week for your video consult. Yep. Sorry. So, oh, he let you sleep. He woke her up. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Gotcha. Now I gotcha. Gotcha. Now I see. Now I get it. So, anyway, what do you guys want to talk about? Should I launch into story time? I told the story about the serial killer yesterday, but I had to delete the video. My story time series is 1977. Yes, hippie chick. Yes. So I can either retell the serial killer story so that I have a serial killer story, or I can go on to the next phase after the serial killer and retell the serial killer story after I have retold the rest of 1977. So should I continue on in chronological order for the rest of 1977 and talk about the things that happened after the serial killer was caught and my parents realized? Oh, no. It wasn't a serial killer while hitchhiking. No, I hitchhiked because of the events that took place after the serial killer. Okay, so I will continue. So my parents found out that I had been hanging out in the daytime when I should have been at school with the serial killer, and that he had been caught and was going to have a trial. And they freaked out and decided to send me to my sister's house in Virginia. Now, we were really, really, really poor. I mean, I wore the same clothes to school every day. I never took a bath. My house was disgusting. I mean, you have to really picture the environment that I lived in. It was really, truly so bizarre. Um, but so they decided they were going to send me to Virginia to live with my sister. My sister was in her 20s and had two children, and her husband was in the Navy. And they were very poor, but I had been sent to live with them at other times during my life, so that wasn't unusual. So my mom bought me a bus ticket. Me, the girl who just got in trouble for cutting school and hanging out with serial killer, bought a bus ticket, and they put me on a Greyhound bus and sent me from Killeen, Texas to Norfolk, Virginia. So I rode the bus by myself. I had like $5 for food. I mean, my parents never gave me any. I never had shit. But anyway, I was real excited because I was away from my mother. You know, I was so fucking happy. Yay! I get to go to Agnes's house. Oh my God. Hanging out with that serial killer was the best thing I ever did because I really didn't like my mother and my home life was horrible. So I get to my sister's house, and my sister is really not old enough to try to manage a 15-year-old wild child such as myself, because she herself isn't really an adult yet. Her kids are just babies. So she's like 24 years old, trying to learn how to, like, because she grew up in the same environment that I did, so she really had no idea how to live either. That's been my biggest problem in my life, is because the way I grew up, I didn't know how to live. I've got brains to be able to accomplish things, but I don't know how to live, you know? Anyway, she also did not know how to live or be a good parent because we didn't have role models. So she's got two kids and a husband that's an alcoholic. But he's a responsible a Navy guy. He's in the Navy. He's a responsible Navy guy, so he has a good job in the Navy. So I get to her house, and they let me smoke cigarettes. They buy me a carton of cigarettes. So I'm like hanging out with them like I'm an adult. Okay, they're starting to give me adult freedoms. The girl who was cutting school and hanging out with a serial killer starts to get adult freedoms. So I get enrolled in school. My first day going to school, I get on the school bus that picks me up in the morning, and everybody on the school bus is smoking cigarettes. They don't only have a smoking area at school, but you can smoke cigarettes on the bus. On the way home on the school bus, and I had to ride a bus for like an hour and a half to get to school because they bused me from Ocean View Avenue all the way to the inner city of Norfolk to go to school. So, and it was like a predominantly black school. And so I get bused to school, and on the way home from school, I go my first day. I only have to spend like 2 hours in school because none of my classes matched up with the school in Norfolk. So I spend 2 hours at school, and I get on the bus to go home. I'm sitting, of course, in the back of the bus, and a joint comes around. I get past a joint, and I take a hit and pass it to the next person. I'm like, holy shit, this is boss. We're on the fucking school bus smoking cigarettes and passing joints. Now, I'm a brunette. Oh no, in the 70s we had smoking areas at the school. Typically it was a courtyard in between the hallways, but we had smoking areas in the 70s. The teachers also had smoking areas, but we could smoke on school buses. And then you watched the joint get passed on the school bus, and it went all the way down the seats and to the driver and then back. This is 1977 in Norfolk, Virginia. The girl who just got in trouble for cutting class to smoke weed with serial killer is sent to Norfolk, Virginia to live with her almost a teenage sister and sent to a school where the weed flows like water in the water fountains. Oh my God. I was like, I can hang with this, right? Oh my God. And I only have 2.5 hours of class a day. And the best part, oh my God, the best part is the school buses run like city buses. They aren't city buses, they were school buses, but they run like city buses. So passing joints is a thing of the past on, especially on a school bus. Oh, now you just vape, right? Now you just vape, right? So anyway, the good old days, right? So the school buses, because it was a big inner city, ran once an hour. Once an hour. So I could go home when I wanted and go to school when I wanted. It was like there was a city school bus that stopped in front of my fucking house every hour going to my school. Because there were that many of us who had so many different, we just ran all day. So I would go to school. My classes were over in 2.5 hours, but I would go out the back door and into the woods behind the school where there were massive parties. They would bring garbage bags full of beer and put them down in the water because the rivers in Norfolk are really cold. Sink the bags of beer into the water, and we would sit out there partying our fucking asses off all day. The police came and raided us once. I ran from police dogs and helicopters and got away. Didn't get caught. I passed out in the grass while the helicopter, I was hiding in the tall grass. The helicopter was flying over me. It was part of the first force busing. You were part of the first force busing in desegregation. That's crazy. See, I had people bust. We had black people bust into our schools in Wichita Falls, Texas. When I was in the 4th grade, I went to a white district school, and we had black kids in that school that got bussed in. And that was in the 60s. Actually, it was in 1970. It was in 1970. There were black kids getting bussed into this real rich school in 1970. That's the first time I saw black kids. I started at a rich school in 1970. I was miserable. Oh my God, because I was really poor. I don't know how the fuck I ended up in that school district, but I did. And yeah. I was picked on by everybody. Everybody, even the black kids picked on me. Everybody hated me. Louisiana waited until they were forced by the federal government, right? I was part, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Texas started doing it early, at least to the really wealthy school. Anyway, we would have so much fun partying, and then we would get raided. I got away from the cops, okay? And after the cops cleared and thought everybody was, I was hiding in the tall grass from the helicopter. Just laying there in the tall grass from the helicopter, I just froze. I hopped the fence and then fell into the weeds and froze. Never moved again for like an hour. And I kind of fell asleep. And when I woke up, I heard footsteps. And I opened my eyes without moving my fucking head. And where I fell, when I fell over the fence, was about 3 feet away from a footpath. And a place where there was a break in the fence, okay? And so I fell asleep, and when I woke up to the footsteps, it was a cop, a detective, a plainclothes cop, coming through the fence, looking around like this. I'm at his fucking feet in the weeds, frozen like a mannequin, looking at him because I just woke up, and he's looking around above me like this. And then he keeps going. And I'm like, holy fuck. So I get up and I slink through the weeds and kind of peek up. I was on a grassy side of an interstate. That's the fence that I hopped, was a grassy side of an interstate. And so I kind of crawl up to the interstate and peek over, and there's all these cop cars and all this shit. Oh my God. So I just go right back and just stay frozen again for a long time. And Then after about, I don't know, another hour, things quietened down, and I slowly came out and snuck out of the woods and made my way back to the school bus. I'm so lucky he didn't see me, but see, they never see me. It's weird. I made my way back to the school bus, and everybody on the bus was like, "Oh my God, you're here! We thought you got caught! We thought you got caught! You didn't get caught! We thought you got busted! No, no!" And here's the funny part, because, you know, my sister and brother-in-law were cool, and they had a teenage girl living with them. One of my brother-in-law's Navy friends had come to me, the 15-year-old high school girl, and gave me money to go buy weed for him at school. So he gave me $60 to go get weed. I was too smart for them. That's right, Shell and Gleam. So he gave me $60 to go get weed, which I bought. I think it started out, it was about the bag that, actually, he gave me $60 in 1977. That should buy a lot of weed, right? And it started out a baggie with this much. They call this a 3-finger lid, okay? It started out a 3-finger lid. But when I got on that school bus, after surviving that raid on our party, and all my friends were cheering and so excited to see me, so happy that I made it and didn't get busted because they knew I was right out there in the fucking thick of things, I busted that baggie out. And we partied all the way home. And by the time I got home, well, you know, when you're in the military and you got to go to a kid to score your weed, you know it. You got to know it's going to cost you, okay? It's not going to be cheap, especially when you go to a kid whose nickname is Ripoff, all right? My nickname in my family was Ripoff. He went to a kid whose knows their name is Ripoff and gave her $60 to get weed. This is really a good story because it's got a happy ending. Right? It would have been great. The school's name is Lake Taylor, and it's in Norfolk, Virginia, and it was a rough school. So, it by the time I got it to him, it was less than 2 fingers, okay? It was just a little bit of fucking weed in a bag. It was like this much. I think it started out this much, and it was this much when I gave it to him. And I just gave it to him, and he was like, he looked at it. I'm thinking, you know, fuck, I got it for you. He gave it to him, and he's like, Teresa. That's my name. I shouldn't tell you that, but he's like, you can call me Ripoff, right? Only people who know the 1970s story get to call me Ripoff, and people who knew me in 1970. People who knew me in 1970, and people who know the 1970. I mean, people who knew me in 1977, and people who know the 1977 story get to call me Ripoff. But he was like, I gave you $60. Is this all? I just looked at it. Yeah, that's all. I mean, what did you expect, dude? I got it for you. I had to party. Didn't you know I was going to party? I mean, I'm not keeping any of it for myself. All of it was legit party. But you surely didn't expect me to have that in my possession and not party. Now you know the story, right? Okay, Mom? Yeah. So anyway, here's the I always, my entire life, this is the kind of person I am, all right? My entire life, I have thought back on that story and the day that I handed him that weed for $60, knowing that I had smoked his weed. It was legit party, right? I have looked back on that day knowing that I have smoked his weed and felt guilty ever since that day. He was a good friend of my brother and my brother-in-law's and my sister's, and he was a really nice guy. And I smoked all his weed. So I felt guilty about this okay, it happened in 1977, and I felt guilty about it until 2015. Round about 2012, he found the family on Facebook, so he became everybody's Facebook friends. So I would see his stuff in my feed, and I would feel guilty every time I saw his stuff in my feed. And what I found out is that he had back injuries and was on disability, and really needed a scooter to get around, but didn't have one. His scooter broke. And so I put an ad on Craigslist. In the Washington, D.C. Metroplex, there are a lot of really rich people. A lot of really rich people who, but it really bothered me. It wasn't the right thing to do, and it really bothered me. So there's a lot of really rich people in the DMV who have great insurance, and great insurance pays for scooters. And so I put an ad in the Craigslist that has a DMV. Well, listen, okay, it's Mom, I'm not done. Keep finishing. I put an ad in the DMV in the Craigslist and said, I have a veteran friend in Massachusetts who is in dire need of a scooter. If you have a scooter just taking up space because whoever that you got it for isn't around anymore or doesn't need it anymore, because I know that happens, I would accept a donation to this veteran and drive it to him to Massachusetts if you're willing to donate it. And somebody donated a scooter, and I put it in my pickup, and I drove it from Maryland to Massachusetts, to Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and delivered to him. And when I delivered it to him, I said, he was overjoyed, fucking overjoyed, just stunned. I could not believe I showed up. I didn't get there until like 10 o'clock at night, and I still had to drive back to Maryland from Pittsfield, Massachusetts. And when I gave it to him, I said, this is because I ripped you off in 1977 for your weed, and I am so sorry. So this is because I ripped you off for your weed, and I delivered that scooter to his front door. So it is a good story. I mean, it did have a good ending, but that is the kind of person I was as a teenager. It gave me a little bit of goosebumps just then to talk about that. But that, it bothered me. I mean, I really, yeah. I mean, that let me not feel bad about it. And he was like, oh my God, I hardly even remember. Of course you ripped me off. Your name was Rip Off, Hi, I cannot stand this BS. Good morning. Yeah, so I brought him a scooter in his old age and sat in his living room, which was really filthy because his family is hoarders. He forgave me. We sat in his living room and I listened to him tell war stories about my brother and my brother-in-law and his time in the Navy and all the different things that they did. And I chatted with his family and drank their drink out of their dirty glass and didn't even make a face, and hugged them and was so happy. I cleared a debt. That's right. And I owed that vet. I sure as fuck did. I sure did. His name is John Pixley. And I told him that's because I ripped you off on that bag of weed in 1977. He was overjoyed. Oh my God, he was so excited. That I So things happen for a reason. Maybe he needed that pick-me-up. And, that's the reason I ripped him off when I was a youngster, is so that I could go brighten his day when he's an old man. He and I parted friendship, though, because that woman in Massachusetts who, right, okay, it's Mom. Oh yes, I sure did. I really think I did. And it warmed my heart to be able to do that. It was like when I realized, like, it clicked. I was sitting at home on Facebook, and Watching his posts scroll through my feed, feeling guilty every time I saw one, and I all of a sudden, he was talking about his scooter broken, and I thought, holy shit, I can absolutely get him a scooter, and it will only cost me tolls and gas, and that way he won't feel like I've done like all kinds of crazy shit for him. It's not like I spent money on a scooter and then gave it to him. I got someone to donate it to him because he's a vet, and I just brought it to, so it wasn't, I didn't feel like I was going overboard. I was just doing a really good thing for somebody. And yeah, but we parted ways because he supported, that young girl in Massachusetts that talked her boyfriend into committing suicide. Talked him into committed suicide and encouraged him, and when he tried to change his mind, she told him no, go finish it. That girl, he supported her, and I didn't support her. I didn't support her. So that's why we parted friendship. We parted friendship because he made a post and I commented on it, and he snapped at me and unfriended and blocked me. He said, oh, she's just a kid. Yes, we should just hang her. Well, yeah, we really fucking should. She's a sociopath. She's not just a kid. She's a fucking sociopath. I'm sorry. But when you read those text messages, she was a sociopath. Right? Okay, yes, Mom. I won't go into any details about it, but it was absolutely, I'm sorry. I can't support it. And he got mad at me and unfriended me, which is, I'm really, I'm okay with that. At least I got to repay him before we parted ways. He wasn't really my friend. He was my family's friend. I was a kid and he was an adult, but good morning, Leslie. Bel Fuentes. Yeah. So, yeah. But he was a real supporter. It was insane. It was really insane. It was really, really, really insane. And yeah, I don't think she didn't have any remorse. She, I think, still today thinks that she did the right thing, helping him. She had no right to help him. She had no right to do that. Sociopaths are born that way. Just because she's young does not mean she is not a sociopath. Or they get that way at a young age. I hope she won't get help in prison, though. She was really she manipulated him. She sure did. They don't have any remorse. She reasoned her responsibility away. I think she got, we can change the subject. Okay, we'll change the subject. My brother took his life this year. I'm sorry. We will change the subject. I am so sorry. I am so sorry, Schley. Okay, so we'll go back on with 1977 if you'd like. There's more that happened in this section of the story, but that was what my high school experience was like. Eventually, high school partying in a very short time turned into nonstop partying while I was at school. I mean, why bother to go to school? Why bother to go to school to, oh, there it is. Sorry, I lost my tweezers. Why bother to go to school when it's just for 2 hours and you're not paying attention in class anyway? Why not just ride the bus to school and go out back to the woods and party every day? Oh, gosh, no. Oh, gosh, no. I dropped out of 77 is the year I dropped out of high school. That's why I'm talking about 77. It was a real traumatic year. So I stopped going to high school and just would go outside and party. And eventually the school sent I was in the 10th grade. The school sent my sister a letter and said, Teresa must be sick because she hasn't been to school in 45 days. We're going to take her off the enrollment we're going to take her off our enrollment list, and when she gets better, you can bring her back and re-enroll her. But we're taking her off the enrollment. That's how my sister found out I hadn't been going to classes. Okay, I got away with that for 45 days. I was in the 10th grade. I came home from school and she was like, "You've been getting on the bus every day." No, not in Norfolk, Virginia, not in 1977. You could drop out of school in 1977 just. She says, "You've been going." She said, "What have you been doing?" Well, at the same time, before that happened, I got into some trouble. Before she got the letter, when she still thought I was going to school, well, there's more to the story. When she still thought I was going to school, I was actually cutting class and going over to a friend's house. We stopped partying behind the school after the bust. After the big bust where the police busted us in the woods, we had to find a new place to go party. And as it turned out, on the end of Ocean View Avenue was an absolutely horrendous neighborhood full of drugs and ne'er-do-wells and trailer park dwellers who welcomed truant children and the bad girls that I hung around with. And so the friends that I made partying in the woods led me to partying in the projects or partying in the trailer courts. And I was partying in the trailer courts one day when I should have been at school, when my sister still thought I was at school. And the police busted the house. And I got a ticket for being... Oh, what did I get a ticket for? I might have... Being in a house of ill repute. I got a ticket for being in a house of ill repute. Okay? I was 15. So I had to go home to my sister. Actually, I think they gave me a ride home. But anyway, my sister actually fucking had to go at the same time that she was finding out that I hadn't been going to school. She had to go to court because I got a ticket for being a pedestrian on a prohibited highway, and then I got another ticket for being in a house of ill repute. She was like, "What the fuck did my parents send me to deal with? She's not going to school and she's getting all these tickets that I have to pay." She had to pay. And then one of my girlfriends ran away from home because her stepfather was beating her. She had bruises. And all of a sudden, my sister and I decide that we are going to help. I decide I'm going to help my sister. I was 15 and my sister was like 24. She had young children. She had like my nephews were like 3 and 1. All right. They were little. So she was young. And I was a sophisticated fucking teenager who just got a taste of freedom and had decided that she is running her own fucking show from here on in. All right. Life seems happier when I'm running my show and not putting up with my crazy mother. So she's having to deal with that. Anyway, my friend from school decides that she's going to run. I decide I'm going to help my friend from school run away from home. My brother-in-law, so I help my friend run away from home, but I don't tell my sister that she's a runaway. I just bring her home to spend the weekend with me. And we write a note. We decide while she's there spending the weekend with me that her mother, we're going to make up this story and say that her mother had to go out of town on an emergency and stopped by the house while my sister and brother-in-law were out and left a note saying, would they please keep her for the week because they're out of town on an emergency. And my sister bought it. No, you can't call them. That was before cell phones. No, you can't call them to talk to them because they had a death in the family and had to go. So can she stay here, and will you let her ride the bus to school? Her mother dropped some clothes off, so she'll have clothes. That's the story we told my sister and brother-in-law, and they bought it. But somehow the stepfather found out that she was at my house. And so my friend and I and my brother-in-law, actually, no, they found out that she was at my house, and so she had to go. So that's right, she only stayed for the weekend, and then they left money for the bus. That's the story. She was only going to stay for the weekend, but they left money for the bus. Could I please come stay with her at her house, because they will be back from out of town, blah, blah, blah. So the deal was she was going to stay at our house for a couple of days, and then I was going to show her the house of irrepute where I got caught, because that's a place where she could stay because she was running away. So we told my sister that they left us bus money so I could ride with them to her house. Well, really, we rode to the trailer park of Ill Refute, where we knew these guys who had a trailer house, and she went there to stay. And then I rode the bus back home and left her there, because that's where she wanted to go. And then my family and I, my sister and brother-in-law and the kids and I, get in their car and start heading to Norfolk, to the beach, to Virginia Beach, to go fishing. And that girl's stepfather starts running us off the road with his car. Like literally running us off the road. He found out that she came to my house and was running us off the road. So we went back home and called the police, and the stepfather showed up, and the police came in. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law told them we didn't know she was a runaway. And I said, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Where is she? I don't know where she is. Police kept asking me, where is she? I don't know where she is. I'm not going to tell you. He beats her. I'm not going to tell you where she is. I'm sorry. And my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, because they really didn't know what was going on until they started getting run off the road and the cops came. I was such a horrible teenager. Oh my God, I was horrible. So the cops had to leave. I wasn't going to tell them. They decided they were going to I think they probably decided they were going to just watch me and see where I go or something. But the stepfather kept watching the house. And we went to the laundromat next door to wash clothes, and he was sitting in the laundromat just staring at us. It was like so freaky. But anyway, that girl ended up coming back to the house. She wanted to run away, but I ended up running away in her place with another friend. And she stayed. And because I took her place in the runaway plan, she went back home to her stepfather and committed suicide. Yeah, so that was a bit traumatic. I can still remember her face when the people who were going said they wanted me, and I said I was going to go, and I left her there, and she committed suicide. Her name was Debbie. She committed suicide because she got sent back to her mother and father, and her stepfather beat her, and she killed herself. Yep. So that begins the story of my journey hitchhiking, which I will tell tomorrow. I will tell the hitchhiking journey tomorrow. But yeah, she ended up committing suicide. The girl I tried to help because I took her place. She lost all hope because she was trying to get away from him. I saw the bruises on her. I mean, he was a military guy, and he was her stepfather. And I think he might have even been sexually abusing her. And she felt hopeless because I took her place. Uh, anyway, maybe that's why I have so much empathy now, is because, anyway, I don't know. I beat myself up for shit like that a lot. But yep, she committed suicide. And I hitchhiked across the country. It was May of 1977. I lived in Norfolk, Virginia from January until May of 1977. But that girl who was being abused had to go back to her house, and I got to run away. And I ran away with such a dumbass. The girl that I did run away with, oh my God, she was such a fucking moron. Actually, she wasn't a moron. She was a typical 15-year-old. But I was so fucking smart and independent and quick on my feet and had been on the streets practically my entire life that my impatience with her idiocracy grew thin several times on that trip. She was a true 15-year-old and I was like a 22-year-old, you know? I was like, getting on my fucking nerves. But that's okay. We survived and made it to Texas. That whole hitchhiking trip, that's going to be quite a story tomorrow. Because we encountered some real nefarious people, and we encountered some really cool people, and it was an incredible adventure. So anything else you want to know about the Norfolk thing? There's a lot more about Norfolk that I didn't share with you, that I would put in a book. But I'm not going to share it here because it's too hard to actually say the words. There's other stuff that happened in Norfolk that I feel really guilty about that I'm not going to share on a live. But I was a kid, you know? I shouldn't beat myself up. I was just a kid. A lot of times I was more responsible than the adults in my life, you know? Nobody else had ever taken care of me, and by God, I was taking care of myself, and I was going to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. You know, I could get a job, I could make money, I could have an income and buy clothes for once in my life, I could have food, you know. My childhood was so horrible. One summer we actually starved. I watched our dogs starve to death when I was a kid. And my brother and I starved. My mother ate at work, and my dad was in California for the summer partying and fishing and having fun and chasing women. You know, so when I got freedom to get the fuck away from that shit and start providing for myself, you're damn straight. Anyway, what do we want to talk about now? Because nobody is saying anything and I've run out of the story, so what are we going to talk about? Somebody say something. Did everybody go to sleep? Did I put everybody to sleep? Those kinds of deaths will tear you up inside. I don't wish that on anyone. Yeah. Oh, we wanted to change this. We wanted to change the subject off of suicide, and there I go talking about suicide. I am so sorry. Oh, you're listening. Okay. Well, there you go. That's the living in Norfolk, Virginia was a trip. It was that experience, that 5 or 6 month experience of living in that big city as a teenage girl is the reason why I swore I wouldn't raise my child in a big city. My kid was not going to be a teenager in a big, in a big city, because that's just too much to get into. You want to hear a childhood story? You want to hear a good childhood story? Oh, I can tell you. I know what I can tell you. I can tell you when the first time I deserved my Thug Life glasses. The first time I remember I deserved my Thug Life glasses. It's probably not the first time, but the first time I really remember, have a clear memory of I'm a fucking badass. was when I was about 6 years old, and I I was like the youngest in my family, and there was like a 4 or 5 year difference between myself and the next oldest child. So I was a spoiled brat. I was really spoiled because my the the youngest child before I was born, when my mother was 3 months pregnant for me, the youngest of the family, who was a 2-year old, died. So 6 months later, my mother had me. We were really poor, and she brought me home from the hospital, a new baby, and to a grieving 4 siblings, and said, "Look, I got you a new baby sister. Here you go." And they grieved for their baby brother's death by spoiling me fucking rotten. Okay, so every time, Mom, I would get my way. Okay, it was horrible. I was horrible, and I was smart. So they were all smoking behind the garage. They were teenagers, or at least, they were like between 10 and 15 years old. They're all smoking behind the garage. And I want to smoke. And I'm telling them, give me cigarettes. And so they give me cigarettes, and I don't smoke them. I just puff on them. And they say, "Oh, we're not going to give you cigarettes if you don't inhale." I'm like, "Yeah, you are. Because if you don't give me cigarettes, I'm going to tell on you. Okay? I don't want to inhale. I just want to smoke. Give me cigarettes." So they started giving me their cigarette butts. When they were done with their cigarettes, they said, "Okay, we'll compromise. Since you waste cigarettes by not inhaling, we'll give you our butts." So I used to get their butts. After a smoke session, I would get everybody's butts, and I would go in the garage and smoke. My sister, the oldest sister, caught me. She was a narc. She was the narc of the family. I begged her, "Please don't tell Mom and Dad." I was standing there pretending I was talking to a potential suitor on the phone, puffing my cigarette, saying, "Yes, darling, 8 will be fine. Should I wear my blue dress or my red dress?" My sister caught me. I begged her, "Please don't tell Mom and Dad. Please don't." "Oh, I won't tell Mom and Dad. I won't tell Mom and Dad." So she told me she wasn't going to tell. So a couple of days later, my dad's in the living room in his recliner, and he calls me in the house. "Teresa, come in. I want to talk to you." Go in the house. I'm little, remember. He says, "Have a seat. Get up here on the couch. Have a seat." He's in his recliner. I remember sitting on the couch, and I was so little that when my back was against the back of the couch, my feet just kind of stuck out over the cushion. Like, my legs didn't even bend. I mean, it's that little. That's how little I was, right? And he says to me, "So I understand you've been smoking." Really calm. And I was like, I thought they hide behind the garage because Dad's going to be mad if he catches you smoking. Dad's not mad. He seems pretty cool. Those dumbasses been hiding. So I was like, "Yeah, I was smoking." He said, "Oh, okay, here, you want a cigarette?" I was like, "Fucking A, you chumps. You've been back there behind the fucking A. Yeah, I'm going to smoke with Dad." I knew he liked me best, So he lights the cigarette and gives it to me. And I'm sitting there with my arm propped on the arm of the couch. He says, "No, no, no, Teresa. No, no, no. No, no, no. You have to inhale deep. Like this. This is how you smoke." And he takes a big drag on his cigarette, breathes it in really deep, and then blows this big cloud out. He said, "That's how you smoke." "Dad, you smoke your way, and I'll smoke mine." He had to sit there and let me finish the fucking cigarette without getting in trouble. He was trying to make me take a deep, long draw on that cigarette so that I would get sick. And I was way the fuck ahead of him. You're welcome. Thank you for joining, honey. I was way ahead of him because my brothers and sisters had already tried that shit on me. I'm not falling for that shit. No, no, no. I'm good smoking this way, thank you. You want to do that shit? Go ahead. I'm okay. I'm just here cool. That is the first time I deserved Thug Life glasses. My dad loved to tell that story for the rest of his fucking life. He was like, there was nothing he could do but sit there and try to pretend not to fucking laugh his ass off because I had just bested him. That's right. You do you, and I'll do me, and we'll be cool, okay? That's right. That's right. You do you, boo, and boo boo, and I'll do me. That's right. That's exactly what I told him. Yeah. And he was like, oh my. And you know, I really gave him, my brother, my oldest brother, gave him a run for his money. And I gave him a run for his money. I don't think any of the other kids really quite drove him insane as much as we did. Yeah. I was like, you smoke your way, and I will smoke mine, Dad. Well, oh, you just got here. I've been on for an hour. The story was my experiences after the serial killer. So taking the bus to Norfolk, Virginia, and what life was like for a rebellious teenager living with a young adult older sister in Norfolk, Virginia. Oh my God, it was wild. I ran the show. And so, yeah, we talked about that. And then I just told the story about how I got caught smoking when I was 6 and got away with it. Didn't get my ass beat. Didn't really get any punishment at all. Oh, welcome, Miss Deb. I have been on for an hour. Yeah. So that's that. But I got lots more stories like that where I bested people. Oh, the story about hitchhiking across the United States I'm going to tell tomorrow morning. Oh my goodness. It is, I swear to God, I am a cat with 9 lives. I land on my feet every time. I don't think I'm going to beat the COVID though. Thank you, Leslie. I'm glad you all enjoy them. I don't like to go on for too long on my lives on YouTube because they take days to... Did you hitchhike once? Oh, it's so much... Well, it's crazy to do, but it is... I hitchhiked from Virginia to Texas when I was 15. Yeah. That was the third. So that was the second traumatic event of... 1977, and we're only into May. I smoked with a serial killer, right? He was a serial killer. Yep. I cut school and hung out while smoking pot with a serial killer in 1977. And at night, he killed people, and in the daytime, he hung out with me and my friends. And then that night he killed more people. And then the next day he got caught. And I was at home watching TV with my dad when I saw on the news. They're up about, it takes about a day for them to get processed. Yeah, it takes about a day for them to get processed. Yes! Pick up the butts and smoke them. That's right. Pick up, fuck yeah. Because we were cool kids, right? Fuck yeah. We were rebels. Rebels in the 60s. You know, that's like the Sandlot. You know the Sandlot? That's a story of a bunch of kids in the 50s that were smoking cigarettes and going for long walks on train tracks. That kind of shit is what we used to do in the 60s. Exactly that kind of shit. So anyway, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to pour myself another cup of coffee and take my medicine, and I might go live for a few minutes on TikTok. I will do story time every day at 7 a.m. Then you can, that's right. That's why I'm doing story time on TikTok. Because it can be recorded and people story time. I'm not doing it on TikTok because it's not recorded, but I'm doing it over here because it's recorded. And people on TikTok told me that they found my voice soothing, which is so fucking cool to hear. And so I wanted to get my stories recorded so that people can listen to them on a playlist. So that's why I go live here every morning at 7 a.m. to do story time. Okay, I'll see you guys on TikTok. I'm going to pour myself another cup of coffee, and yeah, I'll go live over there. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me over here, and share the link to the live when it's finished, and tell other people. I would really like to eventually this turn into me helping my cousin tell her story, because my God, if you enjoy my stories, her stories are really gonna. Oh, her stories she's got. Oh my God, I love her to death, and I'd love to help her tell her stories. I hope she can someday monetize her stories and retire on the money. She deserves it. She really fucking deserves it. If I had a horrible life and a terrifying life and a traumatic life, hers was probably 100 times worse. So I look forward to the day when I can help her share her stories too. She doesn't know that that's what I'm planning, though. She's going to watch this, I think. She doesn't know I'm planning that for her. I just know her stories, and I know what it's going to take to get her to share them. And so I want to show her what it's like to share your stories, and that it can benefit you in a lot of ways and help other people. And then I'll be able to get her to tell her story. And I can't wait, because she deserves it. I love you guys, and I'm going to get off of here, and I will see you over on TikTok. Have a lovely day. I'm so glad I didn't say anything wrong, so I don't have to come back and delete this one. Have a good day. See you tomorrow morning. I'll schedule a live for tomorrow morning. Set yourself up to get notifications so you get reminded if you want. Thank you for joining.